I'm going to talk to you about Dr. Booker T. Washington. Dr. Washington was born near Halesford, Virginia, as a child of slavery in 1856. 9 years later, Washington and his family were freed under the Emancipation Proclamation, and his mother took their family to West Virginia to be with her husband, who had escaped slavery. Washington later made his way east to study at the Hampton Institute, which was a school established for former slaves and their descendants. In 1881, the president of the Hampton Institute recommended Washington to become the first leader of the Tuskegee Institute. Washington accepted the offer and remained a leader of the institute for the rest of his life. It was here that Dr. Booker T. Washington became a prominent figure in the African American community. In 1895, Dr. Washington made the Atlanta Exposition Address, which was viewed by both African Americans and whites across the country as a revolutionary movement. And at the time, Dr. W.E.B. DuBois was a supporter of Dr. Washington. However, as the years grew further apart, so did their ideals. Dr. Washington's approach to equality was to take things slow. He believed that if things were rushed, then the whites would not see African Americans trying to gain equality and would instead see the movement as a threat to their lifestyle. He wanted African Americans to concentrate all their energies on industrial education and accumulation of wealth and the consolidation of the South. Booker especially advocated for industrial education, as he believed it would provide the necessary skills required for the majority of the jobs available to African Americans, who lived primarily in the South, which was mostly a rural and agricultural community. His long-term belief was that blacks would eventually gain full participation in society by showing themselves to be responsible, reliable American citizens. His approach was more of a step towards equality rather than full immediate equality under the law that other black rights advocates were pushing for. Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois criticized this way of thinking and even labeled him the Great Accommodator. Washington responded by stating that confrontation would lead to disaster for the outnumbered African American community and that long-term cooperation with supportive whites was the only way to truly overcome racism. Du Bois' career was mainly focused on creating an equal and just society for all. He became a notable writer, activist, and philosopher. Du Bois was known to critique Booker T. Washington's works. He believed in immediate action rather than long-term solutions. He believed that to have an equal and just society, people need to put their best possible black leaders out there, although he did not believe he would gain total acceptance towards the black community. He believed that the whites would somewhat recognize blacks and not completely think so harshly about them. Du Bois did not believe that blacks needed to prove anything to society because blacks were as equal as everyone else. He used Locke's view of life, liberty, and property to support this.